And now, the time fight fans all across the globe have been waiting for. It's the MTMV main card with your man, The Voice. In the opposite corner, wearing a beautiful yet fictitious college t-shirt, is none other than the man who thinks he's up 2 rounds to none this month.
But I
as
am.
we have recorded the main card. No, you're not. You're not. You definitely lost last week. You just in denial. Either way, go see. I wasn't. I was trying to start this nice, but
So
then you had to start.
No, because you threw shots at my t-shirt already. They don't need to know it's fictional, okay? Maybe
Well,
I
but it is the famed Hillman College. You know, if you know, you know. Anyway,
Yeah, but the people listening, they didn't care about that. But you know what?
yes,
though?
they do.
You know what though? You know what? My Phillies are still in it. My Sixers are playing tonight. I don't even care about your hateration, the holleration, the voice. Okay? And I called you The Voice. I ain't even call you Voice. And
Okay.
let me give you your interest because I can.
Well, I didn't get to finish mine.
Well, go on,
My
finish
mano e mano, my verbal sparring partner. You see, we throwing haymakers from jump. None other than Willdris Ruffin.
Thank you for that, Voice. Thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend, the flubberer of MTMV Combat Sports. Yes, I said it. It's the legendary The Voice. Voice, you already know what we're doing. We getting into combat sports. Are you ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Now
All
pre-show,
day, every day, and twice on Sunday.
Now, pre-show, I'm not even going to tell him that, you verbally attacked me about my pronunciations for things that you ain't got to pronounce, but it's all good.
I did not see. Here we go with the tomfoolery and the falsehoods, but that's all right. Whatever's done in the dark will be brought to light.
I'm up 2-0. So if I take a loss this week, I'm fine with it. You know what I mean? Whatever. But let's get into it. So this past Saturday, we had a legendary event, the Boxer Legacy event, which featured Clarissa Shields and Alicia Baumgartner actually winning in their bouts. Now, if you got a chance to see this, there were over 2 million viewers that tuned in on Sky Sports to watch the Boxer Legacy event. This was actually at the sold-out O2 Arena in London. Now, it was the most watched women's professional boxing show in UK history. They actually set a new audience record for live women's sports events on Sky. Now, it's considered a Fight of the Year contender, the main event was, and it was also screened on 150 countries worldwide, including ESPN Plus in the USA, along with BBC Radio and live broadcast. Now, Voice, I want to get your thoughts on what you thought about the historic event, but I want to lead you off with this. There were 35% ticket purchasers and 40% of the Sky Sports television audience were female. This was considered an unprecedented percentage for a professional boxing event. So, Voice, what did you think about the historic event that we saw this weekend, and what does it mean for women's boxing?
I thought that it was an excellent event. One thing that I really loved about it, which made it very historic, is that not only was the main and the co-main women's only, the whole card was women's only.
Yeah.
You said that 35% of the tickets sold and 40% of the viewing audience outside of the arena was women. That's huge. That's huge for sports, period. I don't care what sport it is, male or female. Usually, the most of the people that are watching are men.
Right.
The fact that you had so many women that were there supporting it is huge. That is major. Now, as far as what it means for boxing, and for women's boxing specifically, it's raised the bar. You said Fight of the Year, and I heard Clarissa say that at the end of the fight, and I was like, it was a good fight. It was not Fight of the Year. Can't be Fight of the Year when you win all but maybe 3 rounds. It's got to be a little closer than that. Whereas the fight of the year was also a women's fight. The fight of the year had set the bar previously, and that was Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, getting 1 million people to tune in. I want to say kudos to them because I've seen them both kind of, or I should say, I've seen them go online and say, hey, we're so happy for what you all did. We're glad that it happened the way it did. Way to elevate the sport. For women's boxing, one, this shows twice in a year women can sell. Because even when she says, like, yeah, you know, and women have never done it like this before, it's like, you know, sold out in the ring. It was like Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano sold out Madison Square Garden, the Mecca, early this year. They had 1 million people watching. Now, again, this the amount of tickets sold was about the same, about 20,000 each. The amount of viewership was higher, and you know that's understandable. You're on you're on ESPN Plus and Sky Sports and things of that nature. Most people don't have the zone, so you gotta weigh everything, you know. So, but as far as reach is concerned, and as far as discussion is concerned, that one got a lot more than Taylor Serrano. Though Taylor Serrano was excellent. Again, for the sport, it should raise the profile. Number one, it shows on 2 occasions women can do it. Women can headline. It's not the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 20 teens anymore, where HBO still had the women's boxes on dark. So this is a different day. It's a different age, and the women have shown we can carry a card. So hopefully we'll see more spotlight on the ladies.
Definitely got a lot of recognition. It was number one trending on Twitter on Saturday and Sunday, which was actually amazing. Definitely a great night, a great event. Looking forward to seeing more. I believe Boxer Next is going to be they're going to have Natasha Jonas.
Natasha Jonas. That's who I was talking about.
Yeah, she's going to be actually headlining the next event in Manchester, I believe, on November 12th. So if you're a fan, definitely make sure that you tune in. So getting into another fight this past weekend, Deontay Wilder made his epic return and people loved it. He actually fought Robert Helenius, who was actually a friend and former sparring partner of his. Now, if you got a chance to see the press conference, Wilder was asked if he was concerned over his friend and former training partner's condition. And he expressed a lot of remorse. It was actually very emotional. One of the things he said was, when you have a relationship with a man, when you love a man and you build a friendship with another man, although he's thousands of miles away from where you are, when you see things like that, you want to come to their aid. He said, I wanted to come to his aid, but they wouldn't let me, and I understood because he needed space. Now, later on, they did show that he was able to embrace him. And you kind of got to see Deontay be very emotional about it because he truly was concerned about Robert's well-being after the fight. Voice, what was your thought on Deontay's return and his thoughts on this press conference after?
The return is just as I said. I suspected that he would do what he did, and he did just that, even faster than I really expected. Although shouldn't have, because the last time he was in with lower level opposition, he did the same thing. Now, granted, he had a lot more animus towards the last person that he did this to, but it was still, you know, a quick dispatching of the opponent. As far as the humanity shown, that was beautiful. And not only was it beautiful, for me, it helped me with breathing a sigh of relief, because as I said in the lead up to this fight, I really wanted to see where Wilder's head was, because, you know, he'd been talking out of his head for a couple years now, and I wanted to know, hey, do you still have what you need to have to be successful? And he showed that he had it in the ring. I mean, barely touched the man, he was gone. But the humanity and the dignity and the The eloquence. I laugh because Deontay is not always eloquent, but the eloquence that he was able to share his feelings with was absolutely phenomenal, and it really helps with humanizing him.
Mhm.
And I think it lifts his profile, and it lifts his status.
Definitely. I mean, he has some great interviews actually leading up to it where you can see a slight change in his demeanor. He had a first round knockout over this weekend. He's looking to get back in that championship standing. So congratulations to him. And we're glad that Robert's all okay also. Now moving on to something that is shaking the UFC Twitterverse. So on October 17th, CBO of UFC Hunter Campbell sent a letter to all of the UFC athletes and their teams explaining that they have updated their athletic code of conduct. Now, subsequently, what this does is it actually does not no longer allow them to wager on UFC fights. So the organization now prohibits its fighters and those close to them with access to non-public information from wagering on all UFC fights. Now, this is going to be a big blow to many, as you know, many fighters across all brands. They, a lot of times this is actually how they make some of their money. Floyd Mayweather does it on a consistent basis. So, Voice, what is your thought on this change, and how do you think this is going to affect things for UFC fighters moving further?
Woo! This is a huge change. This is kind of in line with what they did, or not even in line, but puts you in the mind of what they did with the uniform policy. With the uniform policy, they took away fighters' abilities to get their own sponsors and bring them to the cage. I can remember the champ, Aljamain Sterling, saying when this went into effect, and Aljo was far from a champ then, but I can remember him saying when it went into effect, it was like, I make $20,000 in sponsorships now. I got to get up to the top level to get that. It's like, this is crazy. You're cutting my money, and so many other people's money was cut too. Who would help? With those on the lower end who didn't really have sponsors. But for those who could get sponsors, who had decent management, it cut their money. Same thing with this. Fighters are known. Fighters and their family and friends are known for betting on fights. You see this all the time in boxing. You'll see boxers, taking pictures of their tickets. Of the money that they put down on. I just last week when Clarissa Shields was fighting, someone said, "Hey, I got $5,000." I think it was J-Rock, Jason Rosario. Like, "Hey, I got $5,000 on my sis Clarissa Shields." This is what you do in fight sports. Mm-hmm. You're taking this away, and again, you're taking away money. A lot of fighters will bet on themselves literally in order to make money as far as the fights are concerned. This is major, and even more reason why the antitrust lawsuit can't move fast enough, because it's not fair to them. You're putting all these restrictions in place, yet you have no benefits. You have no steady income. You're a contractor, yet you have all these stipulations on you. Like, you, as an independent contractor, you can't go and take your services to a different MMA organization, when you want to. You're there, for an extended period of time, and God forbid you become a champion. Now you're locked in even further. So something's got to give. Something's got to give.
So the question I asked you before we go to break is, with these changes, if this is upheld, do you think that affects fighters' desires to go to the UFC in the future?
It will affect those fighters who are looking at it from a business perspective. You have a number of high-level collegiate wrestlers, which is why I'm surprised Bo Nickel was able to get scooped up by the UFC. Because many of them will go to Bellator because they can still get their own sponsors. Now they don't have these other things that are over their heads. It's definitely going to make a difference when it comes time to negotiate, because now you've taken money off the table for me. I can't bet. My family can't bet, on fights. I need more money to make up for what you're causing me to lose out on by putting these restrictions in place. So it's definitely going to shake up some things. Is it enough to really rock the UFC? No. And if it gets to that level, they'll just reveal it.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Voice. All right. Now, when we come back from our sponsorship message from the amazing Ozell brand, we're going to be discussing UFC 280, one on Prime 3, and also Mauricio Lara versus Jose Sanmartin. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
That music's dope.
And welcome back. Voice, are you ready to get into these bouts, sir?
You know it.
All right, let's go. So we're going to start with the one on Prime Video 3 match, which is actually going to be for the upcoming bantamweight title bout. This is actually going to be taking place live October 21st. I'm going to butcher it.
Don't, because my finger is over. My finger's on the trigger.
You couldn't even pronounce it either, sir.
I'll do it. I'll take care of it for you.
From the Agliadia Arena in Malaysia. Now,
the what?
Nope. You heard it the first time, and they heard it the first time. In the main event, you're gonna have John Lineker versus as he takes on Fabricio Andrade. Now both of these fighters have actually strung together a number of impressive finishes. Andrade is actually in his 11th, his 13th bout. He's 8-2 in MMA and he's 5-0-1. And he enters against 13. I'm sorry, 15 bout.
Yeah. Hold on. What, 15?
Yeah, 15. I read it. No, I read it wrong, man.
Okay, you want to try that? You want to try that again?
Listen.
Yeah, I don't know what the Philly public school system is like. But
listen.
I got all around the world.
I got
2 is 10.
I got 2 master's degrees, sir. Okay, I'm allowed to mess up sometimes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, you are, because you're human. You're allowed to mess up.
You know what? Andrade is on a 7-fight win streak, which includes 5 finishes. His last 3 bouts did not make it out of the first round. Voice, give us your thoughts on this, especially when you consider the fact that Lineker is a much more seasoned fighter in compared to Andrade.
Yeah, that's really the key to everything. You have a man in John Hands of Stone Lineker taking on the Wonder Boy, the Brazilian Wonder Boy, in Andrade. Now, I mean, the age difference is major. I want to say Andrade is like 24, 25.
He's 25.
And Lineker is all of 33, 34, if not a little older than that. So you've got big brother for real versus little brother. Big brother has much experience, is the champion, has I believe challenged for, or at least been a perennial challenger for championships in the largest organization that there is in MMA, being the UFC. Fought a who's who of people, and this is the 11th fight for Wonder Boy. Now, Wonder Boy got his nickname kind of like the other Wonder Boy, though the other Wonder Boy got it from being phenomenal in sport karate. This Wonder Boy got his name from being phenomenal in kickboxing, which is absolutely wonderful, because that means that they're going to stand and bang and somebody's going to go down. Lineker, yeah, he doesn't really go down. He has he lost? Yes, he has, because he's a man and men lose. He's got hands of stone, but his head is kind of stone like too. His head is kind of stone like too. So you're going to see them stand and bang, and that's going to be absolutely phenomenal. Again, I think that, or I should say, the experience definitely goes to Lineker, where in Andrade, he's a wild card.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's 5-0-1, and he's beaten Juan Il Quan, who's like ranked, I want to say number 3-1. Whereas this is the first title defense for Lineker, who went on to beat their long-standing champion, one of the people who put one on the map, in Bibiano Fernandez. How? By knockout, because again, the man is hands of stone. Also defeated Kevin Bellingham by knockout. The only fight that he's had in one that was not a knockout was his fight against Gafarov. So again, this should be an action-packed fight. The judges should not be needed in this case. I just don't know. There's not enough information out there on Wonder Boy to say what he can do. But again, that's a wild card because you don't know what he can do. You just know that since he's been in one championship, he's not lost. And not only has he not lost, kind of like the champ, he stopped all but one of his opponents. He's got a submission in there, though, which is something that's a skill that Lineker doesn't have. And of the losses that Lineker's had and the times that he's been stopped, it's been by submission. So, will he use that in this one? If I were him, I'd try. Because to me, that seems like the closest way to victory. However, in his last fight, the stoppage was via liver kick. And I don't care how hard your head is, your liver is another story.
Well, I mean, he's definitely coming in full of confidence. He said he plans on adding Lineker to the list of names he's already knocked out. His last statement was, he don't need to worry about how prepared I am ready for this fight. He can be sure that I'm going to bring a level of fight to him and that I'm ready to knock him out. The talk, it is what it is. I'm not here to say stuff that's not true. I'm just talking facts. I'm a better fighter, and I'm coming to knock him out.
Hey, I was already gonna watch it. I signed up to be in the watch party to get some of the behind the scenes stuff, which I will bring to you all next time we have a main card, whatever I'm able to get in the watch party. But that makes me want to see it all the more.
Definitely. Well, it's going to be an exciting fight, but I'm not sure with this UFC 280 card that it's going to compare, because it's a lot of fireworks in this card.
Oh yeah, it cannot compare to UFC 280. It might outdo Lara versus Sanmartin, but it definitely can't do UFC 280.
I'm glad you said that, because Lara versus Sanmartin is actually going to be an exciting fight in itself. It'll be taking place Saturday, October 22nd in Mexico City. Now, Bronco is actually looking to continue his march towards a featherweight title shot. So he'll be facing the El General Jose Sanmartin in a 10-round bout, which sees Sanmartin also looking to gain a win for championship gold, and they've actually made their statements in the media also. Now, both fighters are battle tested. Now, Bronco has faced Josh Warrington twice in great battles, and Sanmartin is actually coming off a 7-fight win streak, with his last loss happening in June 2018, and I believe that was to is that Emmanuel Navarrete?
Navarrete, yeah.
Yeah, so you got two battle-tested fighters. They're both looking to posture for a featherweight title fight. Voice, what are we looking forward to here, and who has the edge when it comes to getting that fight, that title fight?
Well, here's what I don't understand about Lara. Like you said, he fought and defeated Josh Warrington twice. Josh Warrington was a champion before they fought each time. Josh Warrington's next fight was for the IBF featherweight championship. Why Lara does not have the championship, I have no idea. It doesn't make sense to me. How do you fight a champion at championship around the champion's weight 2 times and neither of them be for the belt and nobody missed weight? It just, that doesn't make sense to me. That's a head scratcher. So with that being said, yeah, this should be for a championship. If I'm not mistaken, Lara was supposed to fight Lee Wood and wasn't able to do so because Lee Wood got hurt. Lee Wood is, I want to say, WBA regular champion. And I feel like whoever wins this fight, it will be facing Wood whenever he does return. But in my eyes, especially with beating the champ twice when the champ had the belt, kind of an uncrowned champion. As far as Sanmartin is concerned, again, this is supposed to be Lee Wood, not Sanmartin. So how ready is he for this fight? Granted, it was pushed a month back, so he did have some time to get prepared. But did you have enough time to really get prepared for this? You know, Sanmartin has been plying his trade almost as long as Lara has, but without the same level of fanfare. Like you said, he has done well. He got a chance to fight the man, Emmanuel Navarrete, and that was his last loss. And he got knocked out by Navarrete. You know, but since then he's gone on, won a number of fights, knocked out his last opponent, and as you stated, you know, he hasn't lost since then. That was 2018. Same with Lara. Lara really has not lost since 2018. And if it hadn't been for that cut in his fight against Warrington, then you know you'd have yet another win on his belt. So both of them are bringing quite a bit to the table, and Lara has more to lose though, because again he very well could and should be champion, and will be fighting probably for some title in the very near future.
Yeah, both are incredible fighters, and with their track record, I mean, you can't say enough about losing a fight to such a great fighter and then going on a 7-fight win streak. It doesn't even matter what you feel anything else about him. A 7-fight win streak is impressive anywhere, especially when it takes only one punch to get knocked out. So that's definitely going to be exciting. Now, Voice, UFC 280.
Yes, sir.
We always talk about how stacked these cards are, but I personally believe this may be one of the great ones. Okay. I'm not sure how you feel about it, but even looking at what will possibly be the opening match has actually been added. More fuel's been added to it, as you can now add the #1 contender spot for the bantamweight title, as Dana White announced that the winner between Peter Yan and Sean O'Malley will receive the #1 contender shot. Now, this is something that both fighters had actually stated before, but they've done it in the media in probably the most disrespectful ways when talking about each other. So while Yan may be the favorite, O'Malley has stated that he's looking to submit himself. He recently stated, "I was trying to be humble, but you're absolutely right. I'm going to beat Peter, and I'm going to be the champion. That's what everybody wants. That's what the UFC needs, is a champion like me. So yeah, people are 100% right. I'm going to go out there and starch Peter." He face plants on October 22nd in Abu Dhabi on a massive card. And you're pretty accurate in saying not only will I get the title shot, but I'm going to win. Now, Yan, meanwhile, recently stated about...
Oh, that's what O'Malley said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yan went a little step further, I think. He said, "I wasn't impressed with his most recent performance, and I want to say it again. I was the one who chose him to fight. He wasn't the one who picked me. I know the UFC really believes in him, and he also believes that stylistically, it's a good fight for him. But I'm here to disappoint and upset him." Voice, it's a lot of fireworks for this to literally be a #1 contenders match. Who has the advantage here, and what do you think about these statements that they both made?
They're both pretty spot on in their statements. This is do or die for Sean O'Malley. Oh, you know what? Let me not say that. It's not do or die, but it is put up, shut up time. Sean O'Malley has, been someone that the UFC has pushed from the very first Dana White Contender Series season. He was one of the faces and continues to get so much push and has really built a nice business for himself outside of the UFC with podcasting and Twitch streams and things of that nature. But he's not fought anybody for real. No, I'm sorry. Let me take that back. He did fight Chito Vera. And he lost. So when he has come up against upper echelon talent, he's proven that he really isn't that dude. Why they would feed him to the former champ who just got done fighting for the title. Like, he just lost a split decision against Aljo in his last fight. Why would you put Sean O'Malley ranked number 12 against the number 1 ranked fighter? Why would you do that? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, with the exception of this. Recently, or I shouldn't say recently, but not too long ago, Dana White messed up and shared what we all knew. Said he can't pay fighters more because if he does, it keeps him from being hungry and he loses control of the fighters. I.e., look at Conor McGregor. Conor only fights, once a year or so, if that much. And talk about loss of control. Yeah, he lost control of his mind once he got some money. And the UFC doesn't want to do that with anyone else. Every time fighters start making money, they become a problem for them. They don't want to, they want to dictate terms and things of that nature. Leon Edwards recently again said, yes, and I need a new contract, and this fight's got to be, in the UK. It's like, dude, I don't know if you've seen what's happened to other people when they've done this, but they get humbled and they might get shelled.
Feels like unnecessary pressure.
Huh?
It feels like unnecessary pressure.
Well, you fight to become a champion. And when you become a champion, that's when you start making money for real. So I get why he's saying and the things that he's saying, but he's not paying attention to history. History says, number 1, let somebody else do the talking for you. That's what history says. 2, you don't just, you fresh off of victory and you talking out his head like, oh yeah, and they got to do this. And they don't have to do anything. The UFC is notorious for bringing out an interim belt when an interim belt is not needed, just to cut down the fighter. It's really interesting, and it proves what we've known forever is that the UFC can be very counteractive when it comes to promotion. Like, they do counter promotions. They talk bad about their fighters. It's like, Dana specifically, it's like, this is your fighter. You're supposed to promote them, not try to bring them down. But there's a method to the madness. I'm doing all this to keep you from feeling a certain way about yourself, so that when it comes time for contracts, I can lowball you and keep getting stupid rich enough where I can give somebody $250 in cash and it not be an issue for me. That's nothing. But you can't get you begging me for $50,000. I give 5 times that much to somebody for their birthday.
Yeah.
So that, again, that's the interesting part about it. But again, I think he's doing this, or I should say the UFC is doing this to bring Sean down a peg, because he's been very vocal. It's like, until I get a different contract, I'm not fighting anybody ranked. So they had to keep feeding him the people they fed him. And now he's ranked. And I guess now he's got a new contract. And they're like, okay, we are sick of you and all this talking. We're really going to bring you down a peg. You think you something? Here's Peter Yan, the cat who's been destroying everybody. Here's Peter Yan.
Well,
I still remember him bouncing Aldo's head off the canvas with elbows. Here's Peter Yan, because O'Malley cracks, but his background is jujitsu. All right, yeah, he can take it to the ground and he can kill you. All those jujitsu and takedown defenses world class. So yeah, it's and he was dominating Aljo, who's jujitsu and wrestling is world class before he was stupid and kneed him in the head when he was down. So yeah, you really think you something. Let's bring you down a peg and have Yan just destroy you.
Well, we will definitely see. The way you described it, it sounds like it's a potential setup. So we'll see how that plays out. Now, I want to ask a question about this next one. Is it possible for a co-main event to be a show stealer?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna pick this fight. I believe this fight may be a show stealer for two reasons. They have destroyed each other within the media, and they seem to be just bent on just tearing each other apart. Now, what I'm talking about is bantamweight champion the Funk Master, which I love that nickname. He'll be taking on TJ Dillashaw. Now, they've created enough headlines in the media for you to realize that this is actually very personal between the two. From Sterling's claim that he already knows that Dillashaw will be souped up and prepared to cheat to win in the upcoming bout, to Dillashaw literally stating that he plans to break Sterling and calling him everything from a boring fighter to not being well-rounded. Now, fight fans will remember that Dillashaw was forced to relinquish the 135-pound belt after a positive drug test in January 2009. And this resulted in a 2-year suspension. But Dillashaw has maintained not only his innocence, but has stated that he had never used performance-enhancing drugs outside of that lone incident. So with both fighters looking to make a statement, and with the statements that they've made, it's worth noting that Sterling is one victory away from tying Dillashaw for victories in the UFC bantamweight division. Boys, I got to get your breakdown on this. What do you feel about this? And is Dillashaw right that he's going to break Sterling?
Well, Dillashaw is right to say that he's going to break Sterling because we know that fights start before you get into or on whatever the field of combat is. It begins with mental warfare. So he wants to kind of jab at Aljo, who really is like the Rodney Dangerfield of the UFC. Like, he gets no respect. Talked about how things were going with the sponsorships and stuff before. He has been fighting with the UFC forever over what? Money, because that's what everyone fights with the UFC over. However, because of that, they've done a lot of discrediting of Aljamain Sterling. It doesn't help that, as I talked about in the last fight, that Petr Yan lost the title by kneeing Aljo in the head. He was disqualified. That made Aljamain the champion. And I mean, they act like Aljamain did something dirty to get the belt. They talked about that man so bad. You're not the champion. You're not a real champ. Blah, 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 blah. Like, he asked the man to knee him in the head. Like, he grabbed his knee and kneed himself in the head with it. No, that was Petr Yan's doing. Now, the people were upset because, like I said, Yan was killing Aljo in that fight. It allowed him, though, to go back, make the changes necessary, and come back and win a split decision. It wasn't a clean decision. It was a split decision, but I think the right person got it. But again, all these things have been going on. Aljo has been the underdog forever. So to chip away at whatever confidence he does have by saying, I'm going to, well, I mean, come on. These are fighters. And this is not one championship. One championship, they really pride themselves on the Bushido spirit. Hey, this is a martial contest. I'm going to come in and I'm going to do my best against you. You're going to do your best against me, and we're going to see who's the victor. No, this is the UFC. This is America. You talk nonsense. You talk head. You talk smack. So he's doing what you're supposed to do. He doesn't train to say, I'm hoping to win in this fight, or if I have a good showing, I'll be satisfied. No, you go in there to win. So he's supposed to say, I'm going to destroy you. But let's not forget, I should say, that TJ Dillashaw won a split decision in his last fight too. Mm-hmm. And most people, present company included, believe that he lost that fight. Like, I don't even know how he got the split decision against Sandhagen. It was so bad that who was next to fight for the title, for the interim title? Corey Sandhagen. He fought against Peter Yan for the interim title because Aljo was out hurt. It wasn't the person who won in TJ Dillashaw. That's how bad of a decision it was. So we'll see. I mean, TJ's old. He's not on the dope anymore. Like, I never took it before. You a lie. Ooh, you lie. You lie like a dog. You lie like a rug. People in Team Alpha Male, specifically the former bantamweight champ who TJ knocked out on multiple occasions, but Cody knocked him out, many times. But anyway, he said, look, we know you've been doing EPO. Like, he talked about it before it came out. After he left, he was like, taking those shots, you're behind, so forth and so on. Come on, man. Come on. And then what happened? You got popped for something that you can only get by taking shots. Mm. No, I only did it once. Why are you doing it?
Well,
and here's the thing. He was already the champion when he was doing all this. He was trying to get the 125-pound championship. And much of the way that he beat people was his pressure during fights. How are you able to pressure people? Or I should say, you're able to pressure people a whole lot more when you got something that's giving you energy that your opponent doesn't have.
Well, I mean, 2 years is a long time to come out and to be this sure of yourself. So hopefully he comes out. I mean, this is a co-main event.
Hold on. Wasn't Albert Pujols really sure this year? As old as he was?
Well, I don't know. I don't know nothing about that.
You know about that?
I don't
about that?
I don't know nothing about that.
And just because y'all beat us don't mean y'all not gonna lose. Can't wait for y'all to lose. So you can get taken down.
I can feel the hate in the room. That shine on your head is starting to turn red from envy, good sir. But it's okay. It's okay, because you know what?
You said red from envy?
Envy.
Red with envy?
Red from envy. You ain't never heard that before?
No.
See?
Green.
That's because you
green with envy.
No,
red, not red.
No, red with envy, because red is of the devil. But we're not worried about that, because you know what? Just like the Phillies, in the co-main event, Charles Oliveira.
In the what?
Like in the co-main event, you ain't gotta keep scratching and doing all that.
Go ahead.
This is what happens when somebody produces and they got a lot of hateration in their system. Now, Charles has actually vowed to finish off his opponent early as he set to face Islam Makhachev for the lightweight championship this Saturday in the co-main event. Now, I said it right, man. You trying to get me to say it again so I can flub it? I'm not gonna do it.
You already flubbed it.
I didn't flub.
There's no O in the man's name, and definitely not a double name. You said Makhachev.
That's how
I think you're auditorily dyslexic.
Sir, you can go back and watch YouTube videos. I'm going based off the YouTubers and not you, sir. Okay, because I know you flub. Okay. Anyway, before I was interrupted,
looking crazy. Go ahead.
Before I was interrupted, let's remember that Charles is actually on an 11-fight win streak, and he's coming off back-to-back submission wins over I believe Justin Gaethje.
Yes.
Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, Dustin Poirier. Yes.
Poirier. In his last 4 fights, he's defeated Tony Ferguson and also Michael Chandler, along with those two, and they were all title bouts. Now, Mukashev, meanwhile, is on a 10-fight win streak in the UFC and has landed at least one takedown. That's how you pronounce his name. I'm not about to do this with you, sir.
Or
He's
Hashev.
landed. No, that's how they.
I told you stop listening to Google. Google
Voice.
hey, out here looking
Boys,
crazy.
I went to YouTube and I listened to the fight, sir. Okay,
Okay.
I'm
Well,
from the
you
hood.
need to
I'm from
watch
the
the
hoods of North
UFC
Philly,
fight,
sir.
not the UCF fights.
Sir, I'm from the hoods of North Philly. I don't know no Eastern European people when I was growing up that had these difficult names. Okay, so I don't know nothing about that. Now he's on a 10-fight win streak in the UFC. He's actually landed at least one takedown in 9 of his last 12 UFC appearances. So, Voice, in this major main event where Charles is actually a heavy favorite, what do we have to look forward to in this fight? And does Islam have any chance of winning?
Okay, so if Oliveira is a heavy favorite, then things have changed. The betting line has changed quite a bit because things were first favored to be for Islam.
So I saw yesterday it was favored for Islam, and then I saw today on 2 different websites, Olivier was actually the heavy favorite. So I don't know if there was a major change in between that time, but I'm sure it could probably change again unless I was looking on a different site.
A whole lot of money had to come in for that to happen because that's been one of the things that has really been questionable about this fight is how people are just so Islam. I mean, people have crowned him the champion for quite some time. You know, it really pretty much ever since his mentor said that Islam is next. Everyone has believed Islam is next, and his mentor is Habib Nurmagomedov. So, you know, people like, yes, he's the heir apparent to Habib. This is the reason why the fight is taking place in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi is the last place where Habib fought, and Habib really helped the UFC with making inroads into the Muslim community. So they're just doing it again. Hey, International Fight Week, let's get us another good Muslim possible champion and give him an opportunity to get this championship, because really Beneil Dariush, who is fighting on the next to the curtain jerker of the main card, should be the one fighting for the championship. He's like not Dillashaw, but Aljo, and then he doesn't get a whole lot of respect either. Anyway, I digress. Islam has some phenomenal skills, but just like Habib, he hadn't fought anybody. Before Habib fought for the title, he really hadn't fought anyone. Now, granted, it wasn't his fault. Same thing with Islam. It wasn't his fault. Islam was supposed to fight Dariush, and Dariush got hurt. Islam was supposed to fight Rafael dos Anjos, and Rafa got hurt. So it's not that he hasn't had the opportunity or that he doesn't want to face the best people. I mean, we know that Habib was set up to face Tony Ferguson like 4 times, and 3 of them were not like for the title, or 2 or 3 of them weren't for the title. So just like Habib, he's been slated to fight the best, but those things haven't happened. Now, when he did fight for the title, Habib, and he beat Aljo's teammate, I can't think, Li Quinta, which that was all crazy. That was a whole UFC 222 where kind of threw the dolly and messed everything up. But he fought him, he won, and he just kept cruising. Islam is a lot like Habib in his style and everything, but Islam's lost. Not only has Islam lost, he got knocked out. And that was early in his UFC career. A lot of people lose early. So, you know, that's not a slight against him. But really, this is Habib Tony Ferguson 2.0. Who has more submissions in UFC history but Oliveira? No one. And because of that, he has, if he's not the bonus winner, he's like number 2. So where does Islam thrive? On the ground. Is Oliveira gonna be scared to go on the ground? No. Like you said, his last 2 victories were via submission. And he's faced adversity. And in both of those fights, got knocked down, got hurt, looked like he was out of it, like the last 3 fights, because I thought Chandler was going to be the champion, and then he came back, and it seems like he's done that time and time again. So you can't count the former champion because he lost on the scales last time, but you can't count him out, and it's like tailor-made. Everyone's scared for Islam to take them down. Charles lives on the ground. He came in as a Brazilian jiu-jitsu specialist and really made his name as such. He just started hurting people recently with his strikes.
Right.
So, yeah, it really, befuddled me that they were like, oh yeah, Islam. I was like, y'all acting like Oliveira is not that dude. I guess it's got to show people again. Now, can Islam win? Absolutely. If he does what he's been doing, he will run through him and begin his reign as champion. He could be as big as Khabib if he goes on to win.
Yeah, you are correct.
Fight longer. Go ahead.
You are correct. I am actually showing that, and this is actually different from yesterday as far as the betting spread. That Islam is actually the slight favorite here, but what I'm actually seeing is that many people are calling him the future, and there's only a 2-year difference between them.
Yeah, and they're calling him the future because of Khabib. He really is getting that halo effect from Khabib, and they believe he's the heir apparent, and Khabib was unstoppable, and he's going to be unstoppable just like Khabib, even though he's been stopped, and not just stopped. He got stopped in the UFC.
Right.
So but these are the narratives that we tell ourselves, and the only thing that can possibly change the narratives, because we fight fans can be delusional. So the only thing that possibly can change the narrative is what goes on when the pin drops, the cage door locks, the thumbs go up, and they start the clock.
Well, there you have it. Voice is an MC this episode, so I'm going to accept it. So as you know, we prepared you for an amazing weekend of combat sports. This UFC card, it has the potential to be an all-time great. Voice, I appreciate you again for providing us with your foolishness and your knowledge. As we end the show, Voice, take us out and give us one last word, sir.
Hey, well, I'm looking forward to all the fights that are coming up this weekend and next week. Oh my goodness. Whew. Anderson Silva and Jake Paul. It's just too many fights. I forget all the rest. It was like 5 different fight cards. It's crazy. I can't wait for next week. Bellator is going to be in action. UFC is going to be in action. It's going to be a busy weekend, but we've got a wonderful weekend just before that.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, as we head out, make sure that you are subscribing to MTMV Sports. We have some amazing individuals, some amazing shows. We also got writers now, so if you go on the website, you're bound to see some great articles up there. You can catch us as you see us now every Tuesday night, 7:15 Eastern Standard Time. It's your man Willdris, you know what I'm saying? Undefeated again, you know what I'm saying? I'm out here saying names that nobody can pronounce, and I'm being slandered for, but that's what greatness does. You know what I mean? I'm here.
I told you our fight fans are delusional, right?
I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, the voice. Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful week. We're out.